Hello, this is Jim for the Monopoly Project. We're on the Monopoly Project yacht here to do our floating book reviews for the month of June. And of course, every successful real estate investor has a yacht, and this is the Monopoly Project yacht. Unfortunately, it's the Bikini Girls' day off, so you just have me. We're on, it's July 5th, right after the 4th. It's about 6 p.m. and it's pretty hot here still in Phoenix. So anyway, we're here to review 4 books. I only have 2 of the books in hand because the other ones got swept up when we had our bottom floor completely redone, so we had to move everything out and put it back, and so we moved them out. So we have 4 books, and so what do we have? We have number 1, The Plot, which is a novel about writing a novel. How the World Became Rich, and Flatland, and finally our 4th book is Sealed Orders, another of the Alaric Bond fighting sales theories. Okay, it's Jim back for the 4th and last book of June video Monopoly Project Floating Book Review. As you can see, we're floating on Bella Vista Lakes. It's pretty hot still. The sun isn't down yet. We got another hour or an hour and a half of sun, and then it'll be sunset around 8, maybe a little later than that. And so now we're to our last book, and this is How the World Became Rich. I hope you can see that, and then my hand's not covering the title or the authors, but it's How the World Became Rich, 240 pages. This also was written in May of 2022, so it's a very recent book by Mark Koyama and Jared Rubin. And I got this book from Instapundit, and it was recommended in one of the the posts on that blog, and so I read a lot of that. But the book is really interesting because the 2 authors try to answer the question of why did the world get rich over the last 200 years. Basically, incomes were flat up until 1800. And then in 1800, starting in England, the Industrial Revolution, what's called now the Industrial Revolution, but it actually occurred a little before that, started, and people started getting rich, and so on and so forth. And so they attempt to explain this, and it's a pretty good concept. They've divided the book in 2 halves. The first half they review, review everybody else's theories on why that happened, and they list 6 things, and if I read the table of contents right here, you can see some of the theories they look at is just because of geography. The places that got rich just had good geography. Was it all just institutions? And by institutions they mean political, legal, and then finally, or not finally, and the third one is that they talk about culture, and a lot of this is religion and things beyond institutions. You can have a culture that has different cultures have similar institutions, and then the 4th one they talk about is demographics of in the 1800s, when people quote got rich, they also started having much smaller families. Families were, the average woman had 5 to 8 children before that, and since then it's fallen to certainly below 3 and below 2 now in most developed countries. And then the last theory that they examine was it just a matter of colonization and exploitation, where the England and the European countries used their technological advantage to colonize and exploit, Africa, South America, Central America, even the Asian countries, of which China was a great power and fell from that power. So anyway, so they start off by saying, well, here's some other theories, and they give a pretty straightforward account of it. And then on the second half of the book, they sort of analyze all of these and basically come to the conclusion that none of these is fully explanatory, and that some of them are contradicted by obvious facts. In the geographic case, they they give some cases where the geographic theory says, well, if you have this, you're going to be rich, and they point to some examples where the United States should be rich because we have a flat plain with a lot of good rivers and seaports, and we can grow a lot of crops, and we have a lot of minerals, and so it's obvious that the United States got rich because they have those advantages. But if you turn around and look at the counterexample of Argentina, it has the same sort of advantages, and it never got rich, and it's not even rich now, really. I mean, relatively speaking. So that they refute a lot of the simpler early theories by giving counterexamples, and I think that's an effective technique. But basically, their answer at the end is it was a lot of different factors. Some of these had some effect, and some of them were very minor. But also, they make the good point that, you know, England got rich first, and then the United States, and then it started spreading to other places. And the last place to get rich was China, which this all happened in the last 30 years. So it started in 1800. It's been over a 200-year process. So those countries who got rich later than the earlier companies have different criteria. But basically, it comes down to a combination of the culture and institutions, not so much geography or exploitation, but a mixture of that. So it is a good book. There's I think the one failing, and not a failing, but all of the figures are in black and white, and they do a lot of this kind of let me get rid of my notes here. They do a lot of this kind of shading to try and show examples, and it doesn't really work. You really can't see the shading in black and white. The same thing with the line graphs. If you look at, this is the key graph in the whole thing, is that, you know, the per capita income was flat for 1800 years, you know, starting with 1 BC, just as an arbitrary starting point. They could have went back 5,000 years before that. But again, they use lines, and I mean, obviously it would have cost a whole lot more to do the book in color, the figures. So I understand that there's economic limitations even on academic books, but it would have been a lot better, find some way to make that more obvious, maybe just blowing up that end section. So in any case, so like I said, it is how many pages was it, did I say? 260 pages, so it is a pretty long book, although the last 60 pages were notes and index, or 30 pages. So and it's good. This is an easy book you could skim or something like that. So, but anyway, like I said, How the World Became Rich, and I do recommend it if you're interested in that. If not, you got the basic idea from what I just said. So in any case, this is Jim with the Monopoly Project. I'm signing off, and we'll catch you on the next floating book review. Thank you. I just want to see if you guys could see the sunset there and the geese going by. They're swimming home. All the geese have grown up, and now they're all grown up. Earlier in some of our book reviews, we had showed you the baby geese and the baby ducks, which was real cute. In any case, you can see there the sunset over Val Vista Lakes, and we will catch you on the next floating book review.